Star Wars Rebels Season 2, Episode 3, Relics of the Old Republic. Definitely a great sort of second part to the last episode where we get to see our team working with the clone troopers, which is actually pretty fun. And this time we get, old troopers versus new troopers. We get our clones versus stormtroopers. And it was actually pretty exciting. And I loved the show of the Force, which I think the show always does really well because we don't see too much of, the Force where it's like really focus and use the Force and hone in on things. And this had a very big, part of the battle was solely focused on Ezra and Kanan using the Force to see what couldn't be seen. And I love that about this episode during the end of the fight. And the whole fight in general was pretty fun. We got to see the troopers be super awesome. Like the first shot when they were fighting against, I don't think it was a TIE fighter, or whatever they were shooting against. He shoots the rocket like a million feet before it gets to that position, and he totally lands the hit. And I was like, that was just really cool. Like, I knew it was going to land as soon as he shot it, but still seeing it was like, that's kind of awesome. And then their drive to continue fighting, they were even going to die because they was like, they're coming at us, we have to go attack them, and we're going to fight until we can't fight anymore. That was just really fun to watch. Like, I enjoyed the personality of these characters. Of course, I love the ending because they actually do decide to go with the Rebels instead of stay on the planet. So I'm looking forward to that for the rest of the season, or however long they keep the clones in. But the fight was really fun, and I love my favorite part of the entire fight, outside of them using the Force, which it's Star Wars every time. It's like focusing on the Force is just very fun and very cool. But aside from that was when the Rebels come in and they do decide, like Kanan makes the decision to really work with the clone troopers. And they come in and they shoot the walker, and they fly under and they fly straight up, and then it's Zeb, Kanan, and Ezra, and they basically fall out of the back of the ship. I thought that just was an amazing looking scene. Like, they're just really high up, and then they just drop down with their lightsabers into the top of the walker. I was like, that is a really sweet freaking scene. Like, it just looked amazing to me. And I thought it looked cool even in the previews, but when I actually saw it in the episode, I was like, that just looks a million times cooler than I was initially thinking. It was just like, I guess just the way it was done, because the ship basically flies vertical, and they just slip straight out the back and just drop right onto it. And it was like, that just looked really cool. It was very synchronized, and it was just the plan that they had. And Sabine just, keeps the ghost, and she's going around attacking them from the sides. And it was just fun. I was like, that is just really cool to see. Then, once everything kind of got a little crazy and they had to stay on the walker, or the old school walker, they go into the sandstorm, and it's like the troopers are like, oh, they're getting away, and then it's like, they're not getting away, you're letting them escape, let's charge forward. I thought that was kind of cool for his character. I can't remember that guy's name. Actually, I just remembered it's Kallus. So, I just like the drive that he had, and it was like, that's pretty cool. He just, charge forward. Who cares if we can't see? We have to get these guys. And he's really smart, too, and I loved getting to see that, because he's like our constant sub-villain who's always just there dealing with the Rebels and bothering them. But in this episode, I kind of like seeing his sort of, leadership skills, to be totally honest, because he's like, I know they're here somewhere. And so they're just walking forward, and then it's like, you know what? Pincer tactic. And he changes it, and he has them pinned down because he knows exactly, like, how to do it. And that was kind of a mixture between his ideas and Kanan deciding, like, we have to be placed right in the center. But he could have easily just had them keep going forward. Like, they're here somewhere. But he knew, like, change the tactic and do, like, sort of the triangle formation. And I thought, that's actually really smart. Because he basically almost walked right into him, and Kanan is the reason that they didn't get hit, because he was like, turn either left or right. He was basically turn right now, because they were about to walk right into him, and they would have been spotted. So I love getting to see the tactics of both these characters, and really getting to see Kallus slightly expanded upon as far as just skills. It was a minor, a minor moment, admittedly, but it was nice. I thought it was definitely pretty cool. The action, of course, like I said, was really fun. Them basically defeating all three of these walkers was definitely pretty sweet. So I enjoyed that for sure. Getting this relationship between the clones, and specifically Kanan, of course, more than anyone else, was definitely nice. And he decides, like, kind of done it before, or like he mentions, like I've worked with the clone troopers before, like been there, done that, and it didn't exactly work out too well. But he comes around and he realizes that it's not exactly them. They're clones, of course, but it wasn't them, and it wasn't on the clones at all that they turned evil. So I liked his sort of resolve for the clones. I thought that was definitely pretty cool. And like I said, the clones decide to go with them. We see Ahsoka and Rex meet up again after a long time, so that was actually pretty sweet. And very nice ending where the Inquisitors finally come into this season. I know it's only been like 3 episodes, or 4 if you count like the hour of the premiere, but I'm so glad that the Inquisitors are in, and that preview for the next episode has me so freaking excited. At first, it had me excited because it seemed like they were basically on an abandoned Star Destroyer, so it was really creepy and desolate. That in itself, I was like, this is going to be an awesome episode. And then it seemed even creepier because they had, like, and I guess the point is because, it's coming up during Halloween, but it seemed creepy already because they had like the little bugs, and I was like, this is really weird, like what's going on the ship. And then the Inquisitors come out, so we have both Inquisitors in the next episode. We get the female Inquisitor versus Sabine and Ezra, which eventually ends up just being Ezra somehow. And then we have the male Inquisitor in the episode as well, and who knows where he's going to be at. So I'm super freaking excited for this next episode. Like the last two, this one and the last one, definitely fun. But now we have the Inquisitors in, and I cannot wait to see how they play around. And I love the like the female Inquisitor seems to be in control of those little bugs, so I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be a pretty interesting tactic for her character, just as far as how she fights and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to that. Like they ended the promo with Ezra basically being dragged by the Force, and he's like trying to claw at the ground and not be pulled towards her. So I'm looking forward to seeing these fights. I can't wait to see how the Inquisitors take on the Rebels, and just why they even go to this abandoned ship, and just to see what it looks like, because it looked really cool in the promo. Just this abandoned, it might not be a Star Destroyer, it could be much smaller, but like an abandoned Star Destroyer would be huge. It's almost like a factory, like a giant factory being abandoned. So it was just a really cool concept. Like that's actually really neat. So looking forward to the next one, but I certainly enjoyed this. We get to see more of the clones. They're going to be a part of the series now, which is really great, because I thought for sure that they were just going to stay there, because that was like the whole last episode, like, no, we're going to stay on this planet. So that was a nice little surprise at the end, where it's like, you know what, we kind of have to go, like it's something that we just need to do. So I love that for sure. Of course, I want to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please comment below, let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and I want to know what you guys thought about kind of the action and the show of Force, like the Force, not show of Force, but like how they showed off the Force and how they used the Force in this episode, and just the action in general, because it was a very interesting form of action for the show, because it's always been people versus people. If there's ever like any sort of air battles or anything, it's not even in the air, it's always in space, or the Ghost is basically flying in and out really fast and just sweeping the land a little bit. But normally it's just like people versus people, and this was definitely sort of a machine on machine style battle. It wasn't like up close and personal like most of the fights are. So it was very interesting how they kind of played on this one, I thought. But like I said, I want to know what you guys think, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.